Why does recovery always take longer than breakdown? Not just emotionally, not just mentally, but biologically. If you stay until the end of this video, you'll understand why systems that fail quickly almost never recover at the same speed, and why the delay itself is not a flaw, but a design constraint. Because what looks like resilience often hides accumulated strain. For decades, scientists assumed that recovery is simply the reverse of failure, that if a system breaks under pressure, removing that pressure should restore it. But recent research challenges this idea completely. They show that biological systems don't bounce back, they reorganize, and sometimes they never return to their original state. The research behind this video examined how complex biological systems respond to stress, disturbance, and recovery. Not in one organ, not in one cell, but across interacting systems. The focus wasn't damage, it was lag, the delay between stress removal and functional recovery. In controlled environments, researchers applied gradual stress to biological systems, metabolic networks, regulatory feedback loops, adaptive responses. They measured not just failure points, but what happened after the stress stopped. What they found was unsettling. As stress increased, systems compensated. They adjusted thresholds. They rebalanced internal signals. They hid instability by redistributing load. From the outside, everything looked fine, until it wasn't. Failure arrived suddenly, but recovery did not. Even when conditions returned to normal, the system stayed altered. Recovery lagged far behind breakdown, not because of damage, but because the system had changed how it functioned to survive the stress. The researchers observed something critical. As systems compensate, they move farther from their original equilibrium. Each adjustment makes future recovery slower, more fragile, more uncertain. This is called critical slowing down, a state where the system still works, but responds more slowly to change. It's the quiet phase before collapse, and the long shadow after. What makes this dangerous is perception. From the inside, the system feels stable. From the outside, it appears resilient. But internally, tolerance thresholds have shifted. The system is no longer operating normally. It's operating adaptively. And adaptation has a cost. When stress is removed, the system doesn't recognize normal anymore. It has learned a new baseline. Returning takes time. Sometimes it never happens. The study showed that recovery trajectories are asymmetric. Breakdown is fast, recovery is slow. And the more times a system compensates, the longer recovery takes. This isn't failure. It's physics applied to biology. Now here's where this becomes uncomfortable. Because this isn't just about cells or models. This is about you, your brain, your energy, your attention, your tolerance. They work the same way. When you're under prolonged stress, you don't immediately break. You adjust. You normalize fatigue. You accept distraction. You tolerate overload. Nothing feels wrong, because compensation feels like control. Until one day, it doesn't. Burnout feels sudden. Cognitive fog feels abrupt. Exhaustion feels like it came out of nowhere, but it didn't. Your system was compensating the entire time, shifting thresholds, redistributing load, suppressing signals. By the time failure appears, recovery is already delayed. Not because you're weak, but because your system has adapted away from baseline. This is why rest doesn't instantly restore energy, why sleep doesn't immediately fix fatigue, why taking a break feels insufficient. Recovery lags because reorganization lags. The study highlights a key insight. The longer a system survives under strain, the longer it takes to recover after. Resilience increases recovery time. The very thing that keeps you functioning is what delays your return. And this creates a dangerous illusion. If breakdown feels sudden, we assume recovery should be fast. But biology doesn't work that way. Biology remembers. It remembers stress. It remembers adaptation. It remembers the cost of survival. And recovery isn't erasing damage, it's unwinding compensation. That takes time, sometimes more time than the breakdown itself. This is why systems rarely fail when they are weakest. They fail after prolonged strength, after long endurance, after sustained tolerance. And this is why recovery feels unfair. Because the delay is invisible, but unavoidable. The research doesn't offer quick fixes. It doesn't promise optimization. It doesn't sell resilience hacks. It reveals a constraint, a boundary built into complex systems. You can compensate, or you can recover, but you can't do both at the same speed. And the longer you compensate, the longer recovery will take. Failure feels sudden because recovery was already delayed. And understanding that delay is the first step toward respecting your limits, not breaking them.